2 years, but I still think back fondly on my trip to Inuvik and Tuktoyaktuk in the Northwest Territories. It's so amazing to see the North. You really don't know how big and amazing Canada is until you've been up there. Really, most Canadians spend our whole lives in the bottom sliver of this country. It's not just physically amazing up there, it's economically so promising, so many resources, and they've hammered down their land claims and are ready to get to work, which is so exciting to me. So it is a pleasure to speak with our old friend Bob MacLeod, the Premier of the Northwest Territories. Hey, welcome down south. What are you doing in Toronto?
I'm glad to be here, Ezra. I'm here to participate in an infrastructure summit that's being hosted by Canada's premiers.
Well, I tell you, they need it in the north. It's so big. I remember going from Inuvik to Tuk, and it's a huge distance, and there's not even a full-time year-round road. I mean, how's that Inuvik to Tuk road project going?
Well, it started already. We've done 30 kilometers. Another 3 winters it'll be done, and you'll be able to drive from Inuvik to Tuk. And this, we call it a road to development, because it'll help us unlock all the stranded resources, and that allow us to fulfill our potential with oil and gas and so on.
I am so glad to hear you say that. That's music to my ears. And I bet a lot of southern Canadians say, well, hang on. Here's a man in the north, Aboriginal fellow, who's pro-energy, pro-development. I think a lot of Canadians say, well, we don't hear that kind of positive pro-growth message. What is the spirit? What's the mood of the North? I was delighted to hear so many Aboriginal leaders saying, let's build, let's develop. Do you represent Northwest Territories people generally when you speak that way?
Oh, for sure. I mean, we have 5 settled land claims. We have devolution. And right now, as a government, we spend 75% of our budget on social programs. So we think the best social program is to have jobs and business opportunities for people.
I loved meeting with some of the Inuit leaders up there, and to hear how they wanted to get going, they wanted to build pipelines, because there's no more disputes. Those, land claim agreements, they're battened down. Now, like you say, it's about jobs. Tell me some of the different projects. There's mines, there's pipelines, there's oil and gas. What are the most promising job creators for Northwest Territories?
Well, right now, the mining industry is our largest part of our economy. We want to develop our hydro and connect our transmission lines, and also connect to the south through interties, and also develop our hydro. We're building a fiber optic line, and we also have tremendous tourism potential.
I can vouch for that. I loved it up there. Again, when I went up there, it was a revelation how everyone, whether they were Indian or Inuit or Métis or white or whatever, from whatever background, they wanted to get to work. I think that if you had told that to investors, they would see an eagerness that maybe they don't see in British Columbia sometimes, or some of the places where the environmental extremists are really digging in their teeth. Is there still a misconception in the South about the openness in the North to develop?
I believe so. I think most people in the South don't realize that most of our large businesses are owned by Aboriginal people, that most of the large construction companies, transport companies, hotels, airlines, and so on are majority owned by Aboriginal people and Aboriginal governments.
So, I mean, everyone wants to go. And you know what? There was a harmony in Inuvik that I found amazing. I mean, it didn't feel like people were ghettoized or separated. Everyone, like, there's a harmony up there. I found it beautiful.
Well, that's why we live up there. That's people get along, and people realize that we have to have development in order to progress and to look after the needs of our children. I always say we ask our kids to stay in school. When they graduate, we have to keep our end of the bargain by making sure there's jobs and business opportunities for them.
That's music to my ears. I only have time for one last question. We've talked to you before about something called devolution, which is getting decision-making out of Ottawa to the territories. Can you give us a 30-second update on that?
It's done. We're now in control. We're the ones making the decisions. We're collecting the royalties. We're making the decisions on projects and decisions on development that goes forward.
I'm thrilled to hear it. You've made me want to go back up north, Premier. It's great to see you again.
Well, look forward to seeing you back up there, Ezra.
Thanks for being here, folks.